Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Today I thought we would do something we haven't done for a while, and that is to grab some tea or coffee and let's have a chat about something that's been on my mind. The topic for this video is that it is time to stop dreaming and start doing. This is something that has been on my mind lately. What has gotten me thinking about this topic is some of the videos that I've been watching lately that have to do with decluttering and organizing. I really enjoy watching that type of content because I like getting different ideas for things that I can do around the house. As I've been watching some of those videos, one of the topics that has come up is that a lot of people have future self clutter. By that, they're often talking about purchasing exercise equipment or exercise clothing with the idea that in the future, you want to be that person who is going to the gym every day or working out every day. A lot of times people will buy excess of those items with the thought that they're going to be participating in those activities. People also end up with future self-clutter when it comes to hobbies and purchasing things for that hobby that they want to do one day. People buy a lot of items related to that hobby, even though it's not something that they are currently doing or currently have the time to do, but it's something that they want to do in the future. And so as I was thinking about that and reflecting on future self-clutter, it got me to thinking that we oftentimes consume future self content when it comes to videos or maybe books that we're reading, and we spend a lot of time dreaming about things that we want to do in the future, but we're not taking action steps to actually get there. And there's nothing wrong with dreaming. We want to have dreams of things that we're doing because that can be highly motivating. The trouble comes when we don't take any action towards achieving those dreams or moving toward achieving those dreams. And so I think we lose a lot of time spending all of that emphasis on the dreaming portion, but never taking any action steps to actually get us there. Even if you're not in a position to start homesteading right now, maybe you don't have property, maybe you're not in a position where you can actually do all the things that you are dreaming of doing, there have to be some action steps that you could take to move you in that direction. Whether or not that's working on the financial side of things so that you can purchase that property that you've been wanting, or learning the skills that you need so that you can do the things that you want to do once you're on the homestead. Or maybe you're on the piece of property and you're not ready to develop out all of the land right now, but there might be some things that you can do to start moving in the direction that you want to go. And even if you are in a position where you can't do everything you've dreamed of, taking steps to move you in that direction is more important now than it ever has been before. Let's walk through a couple of areas that I think will help to clear up the point I'm trying to make here. One of the main reasons why people want to homestead is for that self-sufficiency. That self-sufficiency is a big driver when it comes to the work that is involved in homesteading. It is so nice to know that you are reducing the need on outside people and outside resources, and to know that you can try and provide for your family as much as you can on your own. So even if you're not in a position where you're ready to start that homestead, what are some steps that you can take that are going to get you towards achieving that dream? So maybe you've been consuming the content, you're thinking about homesteading, you're thinking about what that might look like, and you have this dream and vision in your head. What are some steps that you can take right now that are going to move you in the right direction? Could you grow some food? Is that something that you could work on doing right now? Could you maybe start with a small coop and start with a small flock of chickens? Start raising some, maybe even in your backyard. Could you start building up some of your skills? Maybe you don't have the space to do that right where you're at, but perhaps there's a local farm that you could go and work with someone on the farm to try and build up some of that skill set that is going to be necessary, because there is a difference between learning the information, taking it in, and having it up here versus being able to actually apply it. And if all you're doing is consuming information, but you don't give yourself the opportunity to apply it, it's going to be hard to do that when you first get your homestead and get started on the homestead. The second big area and big reason why a lot of people want to homestead is because of growing food. And this is something that is becoming more and more important every day and every year that passes. My grandma always said that you don't know what is in your food unless you grow it yourself. And that was so many years ago. It is even more true today. We really don't know what is in the food that we are purchasing from the store, and we're relying on someone else to give us the most accurate information on where that food has come from. And hopefully we can take these different places at their word. But we're finding more and more that it is difficult to believe all of the things that we're being told, particularly when it comes to the food supply. We're regularly hearing about stories where food has been contaminated, even vegetables, with different bacterias or different foodborne illnesses that are just not something we want to be having to deal with. And we're seeing this on a more regular basis. We're also hearing reports and reading articles about genetically modified food. While genetically modified foods have been around for quite some time, there are new modifications that are being considered and that are being introduced into the food supply, including trying to find ways to make the food be a carrier for different vaccinations and things of that nature. And that really is an area that you might want to look into, and something that if we want to take control of what's in our food, we really do have to try and grow it ourselves. You want to be able to be in charge of the inputs that are going into your food so that the outputs can be more to the standard that you're looking for. If you can be in control of the seeds that you're planting and the soil that you're using, fertilizer that you're using, all of those things that you can be in control of are really going to help you to know that you have the best possible food available. We've also had situations over the past couple of years where different foods are easier to get than others, and a lot of that has to do with the weather that we've seen. We've had droughts in some areas, which has caused some different food shortages. And even if that food is still available, I know sometimes it's hard to think, well, there's a food shortage because that food is still available. Even if it's still available, it's at a much higher cost than it would have been if it had not been under the shortage due to weather, or sometimes we're having issues with imports and exports and where the food is coming from. All of these different factors come into play as far as the availability and price of the food that we're able to get. We've talked about wanting to be more self-sufficient and the fact that it would be nice to provide all of your own food. And that might not be a reality for the majority of us. However, the more we can grow ourselves, the more of our food that we know where it has come from and what has gone into producing that food. And that's going to be a great benefit to us in the long run. So with that in mind, what are some things that you could do today to start growing your own food? Even if you are not in a position where you can provide the majority of your food, Are there some select crops that you can go ahead and start growing today? That might mean doing some container gardening. That might mean converting some of your backyard into a gardening space where you can utilize that for growing food rather than growing grass. There are a lot of different things that you can do even in a small area. And I think sometimes we forget that and we think, well, if we're not on a homestead or if we don't have a lot of land, then what is the point? And I want to encourage you that there is a point to working with where you are at. If that means that you're gaining gardening skills so that you can apply that to your future goal of homesteading, great. If that means that you have learned how to grow more food in a small space, that can't hurt you when you gain access to a larger plot of land. So I want to encourage you today to think about some of the action steps you could take in this area. And I know that there are so many more things we could discuss when it comes to moving from that dreaming stage to the action taking stage. But I really want to encourage you that this is the time of year to start making some moves. We are still in the early stages where if you want to get started with growing some food and you want to get started with gaining some of those skills, becoming a bit more self-sufficient, this is the perfect time to begin taking action steps that are going to set you up for a very productive year. I have a tendency, just as I'm sure many other people do, to end up in this state of dreaming of all the things that I want to do and not taking action on them for whatever reason, whether it's that I feel I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough skill, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough space. Whatever the reason is, I am just as likely to get buried in the dreaming stage and not take action on things. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share that with you today, because I'm talking to myself just as much as I wanted to share this concept with you, that we need to take some steps to move forward, and they don't have to result in that ultimate final destination, but any steps that we can take today are going to help put us closer to the end dream and our end goal. So keep on dreaming, but take some action steps that are going to move you towards achieving that dream. I hope today's video was encouraging to you. If it was, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and I would love to have you be part of our community here at Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Until next time, bye everyone.